now, I have Congressman Russell Fry, Republican from South Carolina. He is a member of the House Judiciary Committee and has had a key role in oversight national security conversations as well. Congressman, good morning to you, as always. Appreciate your time. Let me start with this, because we have brand new reporting from our partners over at The Hill about just how a growing group of GOP senators says they need more details from the Trump White House, War Secretary Pete Hegseth, just on the plan for ending this conflict with Iran. Obviously, you're on the House side, but I'm curious if that's a sentiment that Republican representatives are sharing as well.
Well, I think there's a lot of faith in the administration in doing what they said that they were going to do, but certainly Congress has a role to play here. They want to know, what's going on and kind of what the current assessment is on the ground, what the current assessment is for the region, and where we intend to go and what a time frame looks like. So I think this is all kind of normal part of the discussion. I wouldn't read into that there's acrimony or ambivalence towards supporting the administration and their efforts. Republicans and really Democrats, too, until yesterday, basically, were talking about keeping Iran from having a nuclear weapon. And that seems to still be the objective of everybody universally. So we'll see ultimately what happens. But obviously, Congress has a role to play here. And, we just want to make sure that we're stepping the right way.
Yeah. And Congressman, it sounds as though we're setting up for a potential round 2 in talks in the coming, day or two. How hopeful are you that these talks with Iran will resume and whether the regime is finally serious about making any concessions?
Well, it certainly can't hurt. I mean, we went through multiple administrations where they delivered pallets of cash to the Iranians that funded Hezbollah and the proxy wars that you see going on in the Middle East. So the old way is not working. The old way has not worked. And I think that President Trump rightly recognizes that salient fact that we have to have peace through strength, that we have to be aggressive when dealing with our adversaries, that this is a moment to really shine and show American leadership on the world stage, that we're not going to be bullied by Iranian proxies, and we're not going to subject ourselves to terror. We're going to remove that impediment. We're going to make sure that the commerce and the Strait of Hormuz is open. The United States has a long history of supporting freedom of navigation, unlike our adversaries. And so we're at the right moment. We have the right president to tackle this issue. And I'm looking forward to hopefully seeing what happens next.
And, just hypothetically speaking, say round 2 of talks comes to fruition, but we again fail to make any sort of agreement with them and they fail to relinquish their enriched uranium and their nuclear ambitions. I mean, what next steps would you like to see the White House take? And would it need to involve boots on the ground at some point?
Well, I think everyone universally has said that it's not the time for boots on the ground. However, what I will say this, I think pressure is important. I think pressure erases pride. And I think the Iranians have a very prideful history of defying international norms, defying certainly the West, and doing what they want to, even within the region, attacking their own regional neighbors. So Iran has a very long history. And so it might take a minute for wisdom to kick in. But ultimately, when their oil reserves are drying up, when the $5 billion in currency that is flowing through their coffers every month is drying up because of a United States blockade, at some point, reality has to set in, even for the Iranians, that this can't continue for them. And so I think that pressure will ultimately yield successful results.
Speaking of pressure, let's talk about just financial pressure. As you know, we've seen prices change here at home. I'm sure you've heard from your constituents about it. Gas prices alone have surged 38% since this operation began, raising concerns about inflation ticking, higher and higher. Vice President J.D. Vance at a Turning Point USA event on Tuesday, admitting that many younger voters are frustrated with the Iran war. Take a listen.
I recognize that a lot of young voters don't love the policy that we have in the Middle East. Okay, I understand that. I also know that we've secured the border. We've lowered housing prices now for 8 months in a row. Don't get disengaged because you disagree with the administration on one topic. Get more involved. Make your voice heard even more.
Congressman Fry, are you worried that this will be a major problem for Republicans in the midterms later this year?
I think if it's a quick result, obviously that would be beneficial. I think when I talk to constituents back home in South Carolina, they understand the necessity here. They understand the need and the leadership that we're showing here. They support the president. And so while nobody likes to pay higher gas prices, I think everyone's expectation is that this could lead to a safer, more secure world, that this could ultimately lead to lower gas prices. You'll have domestic things. Obviously, the president's intent on producing more within the United States. But beyond that, I think everyone recognizes that this is a moment of clarity. We can't continue to have Iran shoot missiles at the West, at our commercial vessels that they've done for years and years and years. People are tired of the same storylines. They want to see something done about it. And that's what President Trump is doing.
And when you're talking to your constituents, though, just one more follow-up before I let you go. I understand, the argument, maybe short-term pain in return for long-term gain, if you will. But I'm curious how much more patience they have to pay these kinds of higher prices before they're not behind that argument anymore.
Well, I don't know the answer to that. I think obviously no one likes to pay it any more than they do. What they were incredibly frustrated by is, certainly the last administration gas prices were even higher than they are now. And so I think people understand that things were a lot bleaker just a few years ago. And so while this is a setback maybe, and while this is a little bit of a temporary squeeze, they understand that the sacrifice that must be made for a safer, more secure world that does not target our service members, our citizens, and certainly our allies in the region.
Congressman Russell Fry, thank you for giving me a few minutes of your time this morning. I know you have a busy day ahead. Appreciate you, sir.
Thank you so much.
Hope to see you again soon.